Hi, welcome back to my channel. I want to thank you first so much for joining me again. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it is for you. And I'm so glad that we could have this moment to talk and to share a little bit, family. So, I'd like to talk to you about my channel. I hadn't got a chance to explain its title fully. I call it Exodus America. Exodus America because I believe that it is time for the diaspora, or what we know to be African Americans, to make an exodus to the continent. It is my wish, my desire to hopefully this year visit Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Namibia, and several other countries. But I believe that an exodus is what is necessary now. I don't want to get political. I don't want to get too in depth. I just want you to know something. I believe that there's been a great myth told to us about what the continent is and what the continent means. I know for a fact that Europeans are trying to seize Africa. Asians are trying to seize Africa. Indians are trying to seize Africa. The only people that are not trying to seize Africa and that have an indigenous right to Africa is African Americans. We're the only ones that are not trying to seize Africa. I don't really understand it. And I think largely in part to the fact is, here in this country, you are being kept out of what Africa really is. When chattel slavery, an event that happened in our history, because that is not our history. Our history begins far way before that. Many African Americans don't know on the whole their own history as far as their ancestral history is in Africa, and what the great nations of Gao, Mali, Songhai, these empires were magnificent. They were known throughout the world. And when they took a pen and decided to erase you from history, and they created a supremacist view of history that you contributed nothing, to continue to make you feel as if you're not very valuable in the world scope. It did something when they took your culture and our language, history. It left a very large gap. Now, a lot of African Americans do study African history, and a lot of African Americans don't feel a kindred to it. A lot of African Americans are naive to believe that Africans don't like you. You are African. I mean, if you don't believe you're African, you get your job application and it tells you simply, African first, American second. Sorry, that is the truth. People are known as kindred to the countries that they originate from. Now, I know that there are a lot of Americans, Black Americans, that say, I'm foundational American. I've been here a long time. My daddy been here, my mama been here. But I'm sorry, in truth, far back before that, they had someone in your family that was stolen, kidnapped, put in shackles, put on a boat, and they didn't want to come here. You vicariously ended up here through their misfortune. Okay. But we've been naive to believe that there will be equal liberties, equal justice. I don't have to explain to you the news. I don't have to explain to you the trouble. You turn on your television, period, any day of the week, and civil unrest among us is there. And I don't know how naive we are to believe that they aren't going to Africa. Hey, check the travel history. They go to places like Zanzibar. They go to places like Casablanca. Those things are in Africa happen by chance, if you don't know. And Africa's a beautiful country. And don't think they just do it to you. They do it to the Africans. They tell Africans, Black Americans don't like you. And it's foolish. There are 1.3 billion Africans on the continent of Africa. You may have met some that you didn't get along with. That's generally people. But you haven't met every African. So how can you subscribe to this? It is time that we have something that we never had before, a nation. We're still close to being very tribal people. You clicked up with this group, they clicked up this group. I'm from California, my family from Oakland, my family from Mississippi, my family from XYZ, but not a nation. A nation is a united state of people who've decided that they're going to live on a common ground. And this is what I believe the future should be for those who are of the complexion that would be considered African or from the continent of Africa. Descendant or birth, period. We are capable of great things. The last time African ethnic groups joined together, they built Egypt. I'm sorry, the people that are there now, those are not Egyptians. I don't care what any book tells you. This has been an ongoing fight. It's irrelevant to think. These people were African people, Black Africans. Okay? A kindred to the Sudanese of Sudan, which would be Nubia at that time. They shared the same religion and a lot of the same philosophy. But when the migration of the Sahara Desert, before it was a desert, when people migrated, those ethnic groups went two different ways. They went to West Africa and East Africa, the nearest sources of water, the Nile and the Niger. And these groups did two things on both sides of the continent. They built empires. This is what happens when Black people unite. Now, how much more can we get done now? The knowledge is there. So, if you feel a kindred to understand why I call this channel Exodus America, this is the reason. It is time for us to do in history what we did in the beginning. And that is unite, form a nation, and run it well. It is time for us to create something where you have equality based on the fact that you are a human being, not based on privilege of one race of people over another race of people. It is time to gain the respect of the world by producing and making our own products, from the simplest things to the greatest things. It is time for us to make our own toilet paper, soap, tissue books. Hey, we did it before. I think I'm kidding. Look up a place called Timbuktu. It was a place of higher learning for Africans. And other people in the world stopped through there too to read a couple of our books. Egypt had the Library of Alexandria. the nobody. When he got to Egypt, he thought it was amazing. We had a library of higher education and study. Don't be naive. And I know you might get into Africa's poor and they have a lot of, hey, you African Americans built America. Unwillingly, of course, but we built it, contributed to it. But you don't have privilege in it. And if you do, then I'm sorry for your naivete. But understand this. Collectively, we are a major force in the world. This is not a secret among other groups. The only ones who don't know it is us. So I implore you, for those who want to, I hope you join me. I would love to see us build a place that we can finally say is ours, that we built. Now, to close this video, I would like to